let's have an analysis, right? I sent it a few hours ago, but it was deleted because we wanted you to focus on the gold movement that was posted by Mr. Cloud, okay? So now that the H4 is going to close in approximately 16 minutes, excuse me, so we will be monitoring this particular H4 that will close in 16 minutes and see where it goes, okay? So whoever caught my zones that I sent out, it's still the same zones basically, but this is in a video format, alright? So for starting with AU, right, we have two sell zones up here, a sell, engulfing fail, and our buy zone down here, that is an engulfing fail, created an engulfing buy, and then price rejected at the key level. If I scroll down to M15, I'm just going to add on, right? So after the H4 closes, then you can monitor these zones for potential entries. Okay, so on M15, there's particularly this zone right here, which happens to be in the key level also and caused the whole spike. Basically went over here, price respected, after it created an A, B, C, right? We have engulfing sell that failed, created an engulfing buy when it came back, and then another engulfing buy. Then when price retested the levels again, along with the key level, it spiked up all the way up to this zone, right? So this is a very strong M15 zone. Not only that, excuse me, by the way, dry throat. So not only that, right, we have this ABC complete formation by the key level. If ever it chooses to just test a lower zone for more momentum and more power, we have a lower M15 zone, which is an engulfing buy, meets another engulfing buy, right? Which also caused this whole spike up to this top. So we're waiting for H4 to close, and then we'll see where it goes. If it decides to respect this zone, then potentially it could bounce back up like this. Let me switch back to H4. If it decides to break the zone, then potentially, again, it could drop down even lower up to where we have, where is the next zone, right? We have an engulfing fail over here, and then an engulfing buy meets an engulfing buy over here, right? So if it drops and it breaks this, then it will come around over here. Okay? So let me just move like this. If it breaks, then potentially it could drop down even further. After breaking, it can either drop down in one go or retrace back into the key level for a better sell down. Okay, so that's for AU. Now we move on to UCAD, H4 also. So we have a sell zone up here and engulfing buy that failed, price came back, created an engulfing sell in the upper zone over here. Then we have another sell zone, potential sell zone that we are still monitoring for the closing of H4, alright? This is an engulfing buy that failed. So far, the previous two H4s have been respecting it quite well, right? But we have to see what happens in the smaller time frames, which I will switch down just in a minute. So then we have our buy zone down here, which is an engulfing sell that failed, right? So this is our buy zone. So this particular zone, we're still monitoring to see where the H4 goes. Because if it breaks up above, then potentially it might want to test this zone up above. But if it respects it, then potentially it could drop down into our buy zone over here, right? So if I switch to M15, what is happening in M15 for this H4, right? We have an engulfing sell that failed, it created an engulfing buy. So we know that there are buyers present over here. Then even on M5, let's just do M15 first. Then up here we have an engulfing sell that broke just in the previous M15, right? And in the process of breaking, sorry, real quick. Hi, wait a second. So in the process of breaking, it created an engulfing buy on M15, right? So we know that the buyers are present here, and it's creating a potential setup over here. Then on M5, if we switch down, we still have an engulfing sell that failed over here in the process of failing, created an engulfing buy, and this is another engulfing buy. Alright, so far there are buyers and buyers, because down here we also have an engulfing sell that failed, created an engulfing buy, another engulfing buy, another engulfing buy. So with this being said, in approximately 11 minutes, if there are still volume and momentum from the buyers, then H4 would most likely break. Okay, so what happens then? If it decides to break, right? Now it's just hovering up above the zone. If it decides to break, then potentially it could test the upper zone, but after breaking, it could potentially also retrace back into the key level for a better buy up. But if H4 decides to respect this zone still, then potentially it could drop down into our buy zone, like this. Alright, so monitor the closing of H4 and we will see. Now next pair, last pair, we have GU. Ooh, okay, let me think. I added too many boxes, so it just deleted my lines, but that's okay. I'll mark it real quick. So we have a sell zone up here. Why? It's an engulfing buy that failed. Price came back, respected, and closed within the zone, creating an engulfing sell also. So you have your A, your B, and we have our buy zone down here. It's, or not a buy zone actually. Okay, this is a perfect example of a hidden engulfing, alright? An engulfing buy that failed and it was disrespected, right? Or respected over here. We have another engulfing sell. Engulfing buy failed, created an engulfing sell, but then it was disrespected over here, right? The price broke above, but in the process of that, it created an engulfing buy. So and after breaking, like I always say, either it can shoot up in one go or retrace back into the key level for a better buy up like this, right? So that's all the pairs. It's gonna close, H4 is gonna close in 6 minutes, so I'm gonna send this quick and you can monitor, all right? Have a nice day, and